Record. All right, we're good to go. A little bit about me. Welcome first to Create 2018 with more ease, joy, and glory. And I put this together because the topic really spoke to me. And I know as we start the year, sometimes it feels like a fresh slate, and there are some things we'd like to leave behind, and other things we'd really like to step into. And it helps to have a little support and the support of the tools that we use in Access Consciousness. So I'm Kathy Williams, an Access Consciousness certified facilitator. I've been doing this work for about 5 years, and it's completely expanded every area of my life. I have a radio show, Imperfect Brilliance, that's on Mondays, and you can also find that on iTunes. And I travel around doing core classes of Access Consciousness, primarily the foundation, and then I have a specialty class called Radical Abundance, which is being made into an online class. With so much fun, people asked me to make it into an online class. So these tools have really, as I said, transformed my life. And Create is the topic of this call. The 4 keys to creation are something we're going to talk about. We'll also talk about, perhaps, if it lights you up, having an overarching question for the year. I created an overarching question for last year, and I'll tell you what it is in a moment. And that really shaped my year and how things showed up, and magically showed up, I might add. So we'll talk about creating an overarching question for the year. And the other part of this, the title of this, had to do with creating it with ease, joy, and glory. You know, and the mantra of Access Consciousness is all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. So sometimes we experience areas of our life that aren't recording joy and glory. And in those areas, we have points of view that are blocking us, that are keeping us from experiencing ease, joy, and glory. So we'll play with that a little bit as well. So the questions, perhaps having an overarching question for the year, if that lights you up, and ways to create this year with more ease, joy, and glory. And please feel free to dive in with your questions. You showed up, so I would love to really be able to address, you know, what for you about this call. I'm going to mute people, and then feel free to unmute yourselves. There's just some background noise, which is okay. I got you. It was Heather. So just so you know, there's some stuff in the background there. All right. So what, if you could have anything out of this call, just write that in the chat box so I can really see, you know, what drew you here today. And while you're doing that, I'll just talk a little bit about the 4 elements of creation. And if you've taken the foundation class, you've heard this at least once. So whenever we ask a question, it invites the universe to show us, right? The how is not our job. The how is the universe. So you ask the question, and the universe always responds. Its job is, here, I'll show you. Okay. So you ask, and then tap into your awareness. Okay. So, for example, one of the questions that's in the BARS manual, and and if you're not familiar, the BARS is really the first class in Access Consciousness. It's a full day, and you get a manual, and you learn these 32 points on the head that help dissipate thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And one of the questions that Gary had asked is, what can I create and generate that would make my life worth living and make the world a better place? So is that a question that kind of lights you up? What if you asked that? What can I create that would make my life worth living and make the world a better place? Now, when you ask that question, you get some sort of awareness. It might be subtle. It might be boom. However it comes, it's an awareness. Okay? So it might be like a little brush on your cheek. It might feel like a sense of expansion, like, wow, ah. However that awareness shows up for you, you then follow things that feel like that. Okay? So if you get an ah sense and someone invites you to a party and you're like, it's kind of tough to fit that into my busy schedule, but I get that sense from it. Again, follow that. Okay? So you ask, you get an awareness, and then you act. Okay? The 4 elements of creation are ask, question, right? Question, possibility. Whenever you ask a question, possibilities show up, right? You have an awareness. Even if you're just driving down the road or contemplating what kind of car to get, okay, what kind of car shall I get? And then you have an awareness. Well, I'd like to get an SUV, or I'd like to get a little sports car. Okay, now you ask another question, right? Which one? What color? Which brand? Whatever. It's not called brand when you're referring to cars, but you know what I mean. And so you ask the question, possibilities arise, and then you choose. And the universe is always contributing to you, and you contribute your energy in the direction that you choose. So question, choice, possibility, and contribution are the 4 elements of creation. And the universe is constantly contributing to you. So stay till the end and we'll do an energy pull exercise to help you really tap into that and draw and engage every molecule of the universe and you receiving from every molecule. So we'll do that in a little bit. Let me see what's going on in the chat here. You're making the demand here, Brenda, that this year be greater and more fun than you could have imagined or planned. I love that. Yeah. And Annette, you're wishing more and you don't know what it is. Cool. What's really fun about not knowing what it is then it can show up in ways beyond your imagination. And delightful surprises. One of the questions I like to ask in the morning when I wake up is, okay, you know, in Access, we often ask, like, who am I today? Because if you didn't have a past, who would you be? What would you choose? So I actually ask, if I didn't have a past, who would I be today? Because when we refer to ourselves as though we have like an accumulated past, then there are, well, I'm good at this, I'm not good at this, I made this choice, I'm an accountant, so I have to continue being an accountant, instead of who am I today? What could I choose? And maybe you were an accountant for 40 years and you'd like to go make pottery instead, or do both. But my mom said I'm not an artist. Yeah, if you didn't have a past, that wouldn't exist. What lights you up? And actually in February, I'm going to have a whole workshop online about what lights you up, living radically, lit up. So the first question I ask is, if I didn't have a past, who would I be today? Then the second question I ask is, what delightful adventures and magical surprises can I have today? And sometimes I reverse it and say, what magical adventures and delightful surprises can I have today? And it always shows up. You know, one day I remember not asking that in the morning, and I was in a parking lot, and I was like, oh, I didn't ask that today. I'm going to ask it now. And then we were right near a bay, and swans showed up right after I asked. And it was just so fun. I was like, look, a magical surprise right there. Okay, oh, you'd like to create your bars classes in Hawaii. Yeah, well, I'm happy to contribute to that. You know, I've facilitated over 200 people in bars classes, so, you know, tap my brain, okay? Yeah, and just by asking and asking more questions, that can start to come together. Good. So you already know some of what you'd like, and you'd like to stop looking back into your past and use your energy to create a fun future. Yeah, when we're looking back at the past, it actually does take a lot of energy, doesn't it? And we can get dragged down by what I should have said or shouldn't have said or should have done or shouldn't have done, and it becomes this in our head. Yuck. So everything that is, everywhere you've been trained and patterned to do that, and everywhere you're using that to distract you from creating a future, will you destroy and uncreate it times the godzillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And if you aren't familiar with that, that's what's called the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. And you can find more about that at theclearingstatement.com. Pretty simple, theclearingstatement.com. So I mentioned a little bit about creating an overarching question for the year. And this is, you know, something that I had heard a facilitator do, and I thought, wow, I would really like to do that. So last year, I created the overarching question, what would it take to be paid massively to travel this year? Okay, what would it take to be paid massively to travel this year? And your question doesn't have to be that specific, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And asking that question, and even repeatedly asking that question, as I look back over the year, I went and facilitated in Virginia, in Chicago, in Sacramento, in Washington, in San Diego twice, and went to Peru and facilitated in Canada. You know, and facilitated in Chicago area again. So like that one question led to all of these different invitations and places for me to play. Your question might be totally different from that, and I invite it to be. So you might ask the question like, what would it take for my life to be magically greater than I could have ever foreseen a year ago? What would it take for my life, me to not even recognize who I am and what my life is? Because I've created so much that was beyond my wildest imaginings. Okay, and if you have questions and things like that, or questions about kind of an overarching question, put that in the chat box, or turn yourself off mute, and I'm happy to play with you. What would it take to have ease, joy, and glory in every area of my life this year? Now, the interesting thing that comes up when you ask a question like that is there can be this kind of heaviness or stickiness because you have points of view in the way of that, right? So if you ask, what would it take to have ease, joy, and glory in every area of my life this year? Does that feel expansive? Do you get an, I don't like the word feel, but do you get an expansive sense? Or does something kind of clunk, like, oh, that's not possible, or I'm not really sure I could have that? If you get a clunk, that means we have some points of view that it isn't possible. Or I could have it in all these areas, but this little area over here, that's always been a problem, or that's been a problem recently, or been a challenge. I couldn't have that with ease, joy, and glory. So let's talk a little bit about glory first. And glory is exuberant expression and abundance of life. Exuberant expression and abundance of life. Heavy and sticky for you, okay, when you say, what would it take to have ease, joy, and glory in every area of my life? Cool. So one of the things I play with, and I drive my kids to school just about every day, not quite. And on the way, we play with ease, joy, and glory. So all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And then add the area where you've had stuckness or challenges. So, you know, for me, it was so interesting. I had the area, my challenging area was childcare. So my babysitters, if they were great, they would move, or, you know, and I had challenges with that. So I would say all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory, including childcare. All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory, including childcare. You know, because we get this idea that, yeah, I can have all of life come to me with ease, joy, and glory in the areas that have worked in the past. But this area has not really worked. So adding that little addendum to the mantra of access can help you shift and create ease, joy, and glory in those areas that haven't been so glorious, haven't been ease. Cool. Yeah. And then the other thing that you can start to play with in those areas is your points of view about those areas. Okay, so what I could say, you know, for my example, it's childcare, and I could say, all of the points of view I have about childcare, I destroy and uncreate those. Right, wrong, good, bad, bud, black, all nine shorts, boys, and yens. You can see I still have some points of view. Yeah, all of the points of view I have about whatever it is, if your area is relationships or business or retirement or whatever it may be. You can even type it in the chat there if you choose. All of the points of view I have about X, I destroy and uncreate those. Right, wrong, good, bad, pud, pock, all nine shirts, boys, and yens. And then all of the points of view I have about not creating and having that, I destroy and uncreate all of that. So all of the points of view I have about not creating and having childcare, I destroy and uncreate them all. Right, wrong, good, bad, pud, pock, all nine shorts, boys, and yens. Okay. Everything I love about having things they are, the way they are. So everything I love about having things the way they are, instead of the way I say I'd like them to be, destroy and uncreate that times a godzillion. Right, wrong, good, bad, pud, pock, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Why that? Well, I was working with a woman, facilitating a woman last night. And she was talking about this thing that was going on with her in her life. And it keeps showing up and keeps showing up and keeps showing up. And I said, what do you love about it? And her response was, nothing. Okay, which is really convincing, right? And sometimes, it's not a really cognitive thing that we love it, but on some level, maybe it's working for us. Like, I remember a woman I was facilitating, and she said, Kathy, I'll do all this stuff and ask for all this stuff, and then I just go on Facebook instead. I would really like to be creating more, and I distract myself by going on Facebook. So how many of you have a similar type thing where you would really like to be creating something, and then you'll just head in another direction and get distracted? Yeah. So, and people will say, no, I don't like doing that. I don't like going on Facebook and distracting myself. Well, it keeps showing up. You keep choosing it. Therefore, you must love something about it. Okay? Enjoy something about it. Get something out of it. So that's why we destroy and you don't even have to know what you're getting out of it. Although a lot of times it is. Well, it's more comfortable to go into the distraction than the uncomfortableness of creating something new. Because it's uncomfortable. It can be uncomfortable to step into a bigger life. It can be uncomfortable to create greater, because you're creating beyond what you're comfortable with and the known. And Brenda is asking, do you have to cognitively know what your points of view are? No, that's the cool thing. You don't have to know what they are. You don't have to know where you got them. It would be a lot more work if we did. Well, was it when I was 3, or was it when I was 15? And it's like, nope, just all the points of view. I have about whatever it is, I destroy and uncreate those. And you can add times a gazillion. Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all 9 shirts, boys in the end. I'll type those both in the chat so you have those. So everywhere you love distracting yourself from creating, so you don't have to go into the uncomfortableness of creating something bigger. Will you destroy and uncreate that times a gazillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all 9 shorts, boys and beheads. Yeah, it's like a relief that you don't have to know what those points of view are. Cool. And then everything you love about it. Good. Cool. Questions at this point? Some of you are using the chat really actively, but you're also welcome to voice your questions if you have some. And if not, we'll go into what you say you'd like to create versus where you really place your attention and energy. Cool. So what I'd love you to do, if you have a piece of paper, it's wonderful to just kind of get it down on paper. Otherwise, you can just kind of do this in your head, is think about 3 to 5 things, and if you have more, that's totally fine, that you would like to create this year. And they don't have to be big. I was facilitating someone the other day a little bit, and she said, Kathy, I don't know what I'd like to create. And what we got to is she was expecting that the thing she'd like to create be this huge thing. Instead of just like, oh, I'd like to create a wonderful conversation with my son right now. I'd like to create a beautiful planter box with marigolds and basil and different herbs. I'd like to create a calm morning. It can be huge, it can be medium, it can be just the little things, okay? So everywhere you've decided that you have to create something that feels big to you, will you destroy and uncreate that times the godzillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah, there was a lot of energy on that. When I yawn, it's just because we're clearing a lot of unconsciousness, not because I could use more sleep. So you've got those 3 to 5 things. And now just take a look at those and ask yourself, okay, what percent of it, some of them, before I say that, some of these may be new. So this question may not actually really be applicable. But for things you wanted to create for a while, what percentage of your time and energy in any given week do you give to those? So you have the whole week. Let me use this example. Let's say you really would like to become a good speaker. So, and you've had that desire for 2-3 years. I'd really like to become a powerful, engaging speaker. And you look at your whole week and you're like, huh, I really give 0 time to it. Okay. And then you look at the whole month and you're like, in a month, maybe I spend 1 hour of the entire month, contributing energy to that target. So then you have to look at that target and you say, truth, is that really my desire? Anyone have an example for us to play with? Let's say your objective, your target is to become a well-known artist in your area, and you spend 3 hours a day. Now, I'm not asking you to solidify it into I must spend 3 hours a day on this task, but you are giving it, you are feeding it. Whatever your desire is, it's like a plant. And if you are painting and doing whatever kind of art you like, watering it every day with your awareness. It doesn't mean you have to do a lot for it every day. You simply ask, okay, what's required today to become a well-known artist in my area? What's required today to become a better speaker? Oh, the sun is really cool right now. Have a rainbow. Okay. Ooh, you would like to create a trip to Hawaii and swim with the dolphins. How fun. Oh. Yeah. So what's required in order to create that? And it's when we approach it from what's required, what we're really asking is our awareness, not our conclusions. So again, you can always say any conclusions, any judgments I have about this, and actualizing this or creating it and having it, will I destroy and uncreate those? Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all nine shirts, boys and beyond. Because so often we have conclusions. It's going to take this amount of money. It's going to, it's far. It's whatever you've decided. And so instead, if you destroy and uncreate those, and it might take more than once. You could, and whenever I like to create a list of what I desire. And then when I look at it, I could say, okay, what's in the way of me having that? And then points of view will come up. For a lot of people, and I love to work with people on stopping themselves, because there are so many things that stop us, but usually they're right between our ears. Okay? So time is one of those big ones. Money is one of those big ones that stops people. Health, sometimes it's the skills, right? Oh, I don't have the skills. Well, guess what? If some other person on the planet has done it, they didn't start out as a baby with the skills. Right? They learned what's required. So you can learn what's required too. So time, money, skills, someone else, right? Oh, someone else won't like it if I do that. Someone else will judge me if I do that. I have to take care of someone else, right? And we let that person be a limitation. That person or those people. Yeah. So, for many years I had a financial target, and I always thought that, oh, my husband won't like it if I outcreate his income. Well, when I talked with him about it, he didn't care. He would be happy for that. So we let someone else and our projection of what they're going to think about it get in the way. So all of these things, you take your list, you look at your list, and you say, okay, what's in the way of me having that? And then points of view will come up. And you say, okay, interesting point of view. I have that point of view. Interesting point of view. I have that point of view. Interesting point of view. He wouldn't like it if I outcreate him. Interesting point of view. Whatever the point is, the point of view is. The other thing you can also do is destroy and uncreate all those points of view. All the points of view I have about coming to Hawaii and swimming with the dolphins, destroy and uncreate those. Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all nine shirts, boys and beyond. All the points of view I have about not creating and having a trip to Hawaii, destroy and uncreate those. Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all nine shirts, boys and beyond. Like that. Questions?
Yeah, Kathy, it was interesting because that made the most impact was to destroy. It was not to destroy all the point of views I have about it, but the next I even forgot it what you said, but not having it. That is what is charged.
Really interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not things in the way because they are not charged at all. They are all more like, oh, okay, but it's not having it. How I have created that to be in the way. That's kind of backwards.
Isn't it interesting? Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's why we do both. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So, for example, with a trip to Hawaii, you don't need to place a lot of time and energy on it every week before it happens, right? But it is asking the question, what's required today? Like, hi, trip to Hawaii, as though it's a little thing, right? As though it's something you could have a conversation with. What's required today? Or if you're growing your garden, I have these, we're setting up a swing set, which you can see, which is so fun. But I have these window boxes. If you can't see them from here, but You know, we just planted those, and what's required of me today? And I can sense they're saying, hey, water us, water us. Okay, I will. You know, and it's similar to any target you have, anything you'd like to create. Hi there. You're gonna water it with your question, and then your awareness and your action. You ask, you get awareness from that ask. Remember that awareness can be subtle, and it might be nothing's required today. That could be your awareness. And then act on your awareness. That's sometimes the funny one. We get the awareness that we should, you know, we get the awareness to call somebody, and then we're like, yeah, but I don't really want to talk with that person, or that's really uncomfortable to call that person. Yeah, just act anyway. Interesting point of view. I don't want to call them. Interesting point of view. I have other stuff to do. You know, when you act on your awareness, it always creates something greater. Yeah. Good. Any other questions at this point? Okay. The other thing I wanted to address is when you're at awareness, when you're looking at this list of what you desire, okay, so if you just showed up, we've created a list of 3 to 5 things, maybe more, that you desire. And it could just be in your head, if you know, as the case may be. So when you take a look at those desires, when you look at it, does it light you up? Or does it go, I don't have that yet, or I've been working hard on that and it hasn't shown up? Or does it make you, do you get a sense of, oh, that's exciting, or, oh, that? Or kind of neutral? Nobody? Can type in the chat. Hello, Brenda. Oh, I thought she was going to say something. Yeah, what do you do with neutral? So everywhere you've decided neutral is bad, will you destroy and uncreate that times a godzillion? Right, wrong, wow. Right and wrong, good and bad, pun and pack, all that, short. Neutral can be really the space of allowance, where you're not pushing against life as it is, where you're not needing something. Yeah, so what is neutral to you? Is neutral the space of allowance or something else? And everywhere you've decided you have to do something with neutral, will you destroy and uncreate that times a godzillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, pud, pock, all 9 shorts, boys, to be at. So, you know, if it's a real clunk, when you look at your desire and you say, oh my gosh, I'm not there yet, okay? Again, we have that awesome tool, Pock and Pod. Right, Pock and Pod, everything that comes up that makes it feel clunky. Okay. And then what you can do is, I asked this earlier, and I just would like you to be really aware of it. When I asked truth, is it really your desire? And I'm gonna facilitate a class actually at this very time for the next 2 Saturdays on desire and distraction desires, and is it really my desire, and what desires do we have that we've been told are inappropriate or not okay? to have and really get juicy with desire, because desire is one of those things that expands our life dynamically. Right? A little baby desires to talk and interact. A small child desires to walk. Yeah, okay, for you, neutral was receiving mode. How does it get any better than that? Yeah. So go through each of your desires. Truth, is this really my desire? Now, because it could have been your desire 25 years ago, and you're still like, oh yes, I set out to be a professional ballerina, and actually, or as a kid, we're so aware of the points of view our parent and the projections and expectations our parents have. So you may have been aware that your parents really, even an unspoken desire, that they really wanted you to be this way, or to pursue the family business, or pursue some sport or journalism, or whatever the case may be. And really, you were so aware of that it kind of clouded over what's true for you. So everywhere that's the case with any of us, and mentors can do this, not just parents, grandparents, anywhere we've made their desires more real than ours for us, will you destroy it and create that times a godzillion. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, pockle, 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. Yeah, so if the desire piece is big for you, come play with us. And we're going to really tap in and allow desires to catapult our lives forward. What I'd like to do now is see if you have any questions, and then we'll do the energy pull that I mentioned in the beginning. And it's an exercise. In fact, I did a month of energy pulls last month and also in October. And those are available for purchase on my website. But I was listening to one yesterday, and it made me cry. Like, wow. Just the spaciousness of being that energy pulls can help you tap into. You're already it. It's nothing external to you. It's just so yummy and delicious, and not what our parents have trained us to do, unless you have really cool parents. And even then. So questions at this point? Oh, okay. I know you're talking, but I don't hear you. You might just have to like lean closer to the computer. But we heard you a couple weeks ago, I think. Brenda?
You can hear me now?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I was just typing it, but my finger wasn't picking up. No, it's just to say I don't really actually have big desire at the moment. Nothing I could put into words.
Okay, it's really, really faint. But you said you don't seem to have desires?
Nothing I can put into words.
Yeah.
Really just,
Okay, I'm not catching all of it because you are so faint. Yeah.
I'm on my, is that better?
That is better.
Okay. Yeah, I can say I don't really have an actual physical desire. It's just like to wake up every morning feeling excited about the day. Yeah.
So, so when you talk about excitement, I didn't hear what you said in relation to excitement.
I just wake up each morning feeling really happy and excited about the new day.
Cool. How does it get any better than that? So you do get excited about the new day? Or you don't? Here, type it in the chat because I'm having challenges, but it sounded like you do wake up every morning excited about the day. Is that correct?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
I'd like to.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Okay. Yeah, I would like you to also. All right. So were you on the Who Does This Belong To challenge?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And when you did the Who Does This Belong To challenge, did that change things?
Yes, it was less intense, the heaviness that I feel when I wake up.
Yes. Okay, cool. So it's not yours.
No,
Yeah.
it's not mine.
The heaviness that you experience when you wake up is not even yours. So one of the things that that you can do, and I mentioned it in regard to entities on the Who Does It Belong To challenge, but you can do it in regard to all energies, is kind of imagine or cloak yourself in purple and blue energy with a little bit of red and orange when you go to sleep. So you kind of have your own energetic cocoon, and those people's stuff will likely not bother you as much. And then that question that we kind of touched on earlier, what would make my life worth living and the world a better place?
Yeah, I like that.
And you can also keep asking. Remember, when we're asking, we're almost shining our flashlight in a certain direction. So if I'm asking what kind of car to get, and I keep seeing these SUVs on the road, and I'm like, which make and model will I get? You know, my flashlight is shined toward SUVs. If I'm asking what would it take to have a trip to Hawaii with total ease, my flashlight is shining in that direction. I'm going to see more in that direction. So if you're asking, what would light me up? What would make me excited to wake up every day? What would be really fun for me? What could I choose? You know, and again, we sometimes think it has to be this big thing. And it really doesn't have to be. You know, I was looking at my life a couple of weeks ago and seeing, okay, I work a lot and I really love to work. And there's something else I would like to add to my life. What could I add to my life that would light me up and expand my life in delightful ways? I'm gonna mute you just because, and then you can chat or unmute yourself. And I thought, oh, it would be fun to take acting class. I Googled it, as we do, and there was a class. I Googled it maybe 9 p.m. one night, and there was a class starting the following evening, which I joined. And it was so much fun. You know, so everywhere we've decided that our desires have to be serious and they have to be practical, and otherwise they're not worth having. Will you destroy and uncreate that times a godzillion? Whoa. Whoa. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all 9 shorts, boys and meows. And that they have to be big. You know? Am I gonna do anything with acting class? Maybe. Maybe not. It just lit me up. And I asked my favorite question to ask. If I choose this, how is my life in 5 years? And I got an expansive feeling, so I went. Even though when I showed up to that class, I felt a little bit like, do I belong here? Are these people gonna know stuff I don't know? Oh, I'm new. And it was very uncomfortable to show up. But I did, and it was a blast. And I realized that acting is just a glorified way of playing pretend. Right? We get to play pretend as an adult, and you know, it's okay because it's under the craft of acting. Yeah. So yeah, if you have no desires that you can really put a finger on, get really curious like you did when you were a child. Because when we're kids, we get so curious about things, and we're like, okay, what happens if I do this? Oh, that happens. Okay. And what happens if I paint this blue? Oh, I didn't like that. I'm going to paint red over it. No, that looks a little bit better. How about if I splatter it with black? And we just get so curious and don't judge that at all. Because it's almost like what Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, refers to as shopping for your reality. You're getting curious about what would be fun. That means you muck around in one area and you say, oh, that was all right. And then you muck around in another area and you say, oh, I like this better. And then in another area, and you say, you know, oh, I learned something from that. And nothing has to be forever. And that's one place we stick ourselves to. You know, just because you have this desire to take a trip to swim with dolphins on January 13th, doesn't mean you still have to desire that in October. You might say, oh, I would rather go to Tonga and swim with whales. Everything can change. Nothing is fixed. So everywhere we've denied that, and we've said, oh, once I choose in a certain direction, I have to keep choosing in that direction. Well, you destroy it and create that. Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all 9 shorts, boys and mans. Yeah, that's what, you know, society tells us, this reality tells us, but it's just not true. You can always change. In fact, it's really smart to change. Let's say someone offers you a ride home from somewhere and you say yes, and you get an immediate bad feeling about it. You know, a gut feeling that that's not a very good move. Are you going to keep going in that direction, or will you change it? So, yeah, we have awareness, and every choice we make gives us more awareness, new awareness. And then you can ask another question or make another choice. Cool. Did that help? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and in the Desire class, we're going to have three sessions, 2 on Saturdays and 1 on a Wednesday, to really dive in to desire and cultivating it and all of that. So I can put that information in the chat room too. It's at iotransformation.com/desire. Imagine that. And it's with Alan Jones, and he's just a riot and really, really good at asking questions. All right. So let's do a little energy pull exercise. And I actually like to record this on an external recorder as well. So just one moment. There we go. So when we do energy pulls, it's really nice to be able to just settle your body. Okay, so soften and relax and connect in. And as your body is softening, soften all your judgments and conclusions and points of view. Some people say barriers down. I like to just say soften. Releasing and letting the muscles that express your personality, like your jaw, your eyes, your cheeks, and your forehead, simply let go. Now really connect to the surface that you're resting on. So feeling that support. And know that there's always support present, whether you're recognizing that or not. And now expand your awareness to fill the space you're in. If that's a room, if that's a car, whatever it is, fill that space and expand outward, bigger and bigger, across the country, across the ocean, bigger and bigger, downward, upward, and outward until the whole planet is like a marble in the spaciousness of youth. A small dot as you expand across the solar system and the galaxy to include hundreds of trillions of galaxies in your awareness. And as you do, imagine a ball, like a beach ball, a large ball in front of or around your body. And get a sense in the body of what it would be like to have these things that you've asked for on the list that you've made today. So if you had those, what would your energy be like? Try that on for a moment. You've already received them. Okay? And now pull energy from across the universe, downward, upward, outward, spherically into this ball, into this bubble, into and through you and this bubble, and trickle energy out like streams, like a sprinkler, like a dog shaking off water, to all the people, places, events, experiences, and energies that will contribute to this coming to fruition. And ask for more. What kind of money would you like to have to play with and use? What would be nurturing and nourishing for your body? Try that on. What kind of relationships would be fun, intimate and otherwise? And now pull energy across the universe, through the ball and through your body, and trickle it out in every direction. Trickle it behind you, below you into the planet, above you, and out in every direction. Pulling more energy in and through, trickling more energy out. Pulling energy in like the sun shining into your ball and into your body, and trickling energy out. Pulling energy is not difficult. Just invite every molecule of this universe to contribute to your asks. And now trickle energy out. Pulling and trickling, pulling and trickling. What energy, space, and consciousness can you and your body be to bring these to fruition with total ease? Everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, papa, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. What energy, space, and consciousness can you and your body be to ask for and receive all of this with total ease, joy, and glory? And everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys, and beyond. What energy, space, and consciousness can you and your body be to be the person who has these, who is the energy of these desires with total ease? Everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Softening more, pulling more energy in, trickling more out. In and out, in and out. In and out and around and through. And inviting the entire universe to contribute to you. Total ease. Pulling and trickling, and ask this energy pull to continue even as you go into your day, into your evening, and even as you sleep, continuing to receive the contribution from every molecule of this universe to contribute to your desires coming to fruition with total ease. So, in just a moment, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes and stay with this energy. Even with your eyes open, you can still be tapped in to the spaciousness of you, because you are far bigger than your body, and to the receiving that's truly possible for you. So when you're ready, open your eyes. How are you all? Ready to go out into your day? Good. Any last questions? Oh, very good, says Annette. I'm glad. Any other questions? All right. You're so welcome. Yeah, and so if you feel pulled to the Desire class, come play with us. It's going to be starting next Saturday, same time as this call today. I also, starting on Sunday, I have a week of money magic. Not a week, every day, money magic for 2 weeks. So on Sunday, it's 1 hour. Mom. Each Sunday is 1 hour. Hello, Peanut. And then after that, every day, 10 to 15 minutes a day, money exercises, getting clear about what's been blocking and stopping you. One moment, we're almost finished. Mom. Thanks for your patience.
Mom.
Yes, Peanut.
We use your phone instead of watching TV.
There you go. Hold on. So money magic is every single day, and exercises for you to do, energetic and practical, and to really embrace the energy that is money. And I made a little video about it because I invited, I have a woman who works with me on a lot of different things. And I said, oh, would you like to work with me on this? And she said, not if you do a money class the way everyone else does. And I was like, oh. So it's not going to be that. It's going to be very different. We're going to utilize lots of different meditations and things like that to really help you enjoy the gift that money is. And then one more class that starts on the 17th. It's called From Pathetic to Powerful. What are you unwilling to be? And that one has to do with money. And if you take that one, then you'll get a discount on the other money class. Nola. And then Pathetic to Powerful in the Bedroom is the following week. So I will give you the link. They're all at iotransformation.com/workshops. So I'd love to see you all there. I'm excited about all of those. So thanks so much for being here with me today. And until we meet again, aloha. You can take yourself off mute and say goodbye if you wish.
Bye, Katie. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for coming to play with me. Aloha.
Aloha.